United we play, united we win.
Deep right field, another absolute bomb over the flag court.
We are family.
Outstanding effort again.
We're busting ours to kick yours.
That's big time.
-15.
Respect all, fear none.
Oh, did he belt that one?
Intensity is not a perfume.
It was a no-doubter.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are back here in the warehouse, joined by our MASN Orioles insider, Roch Kubatko. We have caught you in the 5 minutes between your time in Sarasota and your time going up to Toronto for the Orioles opening day. We are just 48 hours from baseball. We did the tour today, going around the ballpark, seeing what's new. We're back, Roch.
We were back, and I'm still digesting that huge meal I had. You can sample some of the new concessions.
We sampled, that's for sure.
We sampled that hard.
Yeah, I think there were probably a dozen donuts between the two of us.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea.
No.
Type 2 diabetes thing, get out of here.
That's a suggestion.
Fine.
Yeah. Full stomachs or not, we have some baseball to talk about because opening day is right around the corner. There still are some decisions to be made for the Orioles. There is a position player spot up for grabs and a bullpen spot as well. We'll start on the position player side, where it's just Jorge Mateo and Livan Soto at this point.
Right, because they finally kind of weeded it down to that. It really just comes down quite simply, will Mateo be ready? And what's interesting is Mateo went from a no to a, was it pretty doubtful?
Yeah.
And now he's a really strong maybe. So he just kind of progressed to where they're, he's in Sarasota. They're getting him a ton of at-bats, which you can do down there. You can control the environment and sim games. You can lead off every inning, whatever. They're getting him a lot of at-bats. They wouldn't be doing that if they didn't think there was a possibility that he could be ready. And he played in games, not a lot, but he got into games. Got into more than Gunnar did, and he looked fine. So it was just a matter of how his body responded the next day. He didn't have to do a lot of diving, things like that. But it looked like everything was good with him. So there's a very strong possibility that he goes from a no all the way to being introduced on opening day. And if not, then it's Livan Soto, who had a tremendous camp. And so did a few other infielders that ended up getting cut. I mean, they are really deep in infielders. Norfolk's infield is going to be impressive.
Yeah.
But Soto certainly has earned an opportunity if that's the direction they go, and he can play short and move around. He hit really well. But Mateo is a possibility, and that's going to be interesting to see. They'll wait till after Wednesday when he works out, and then you have to set the roster by noon Thursday. We may find out at 11:59 whether he's on it or not.
Right. So for Jorge Mateo, once he is back and fully healthy, we know Gunnar Henderson is going to start the year on the injured list. Jackson Holliday has been getting reps at shortstop. Does Jorge Mateo come back and become your everyday shortstop in place of Gunnar Henderson? Do you think there's still a mix between him and Jackson Holliday? What do you think the plan there would be?
I would think it'd be a little more of a mix, just because I don't know if you want to go from no to pretty doubtful
right.
to have him playing.
That's a quick ramp up there, yeah.
They may, that's a bit of a ramp up, but certainly it would mean, I think, less shortstop for Jackson Holliday than if it's Soto. Even though he plays it, you're going to want Holliday in that spot every day, which is really interesting because he was told we're going to focus on second base, and you've got Brian Roberts working with him on the footwork and everything, and all of a sudden it's like, well, a little bit of shortstop too. Welcome back. And fortunately, he's comfortable now bouncing to both. You got a lot of work at both spots. But I feel like with Mateo, I don't think he comes back as the everyday guy. And of course, with Gunnar, we're talking about a minimum of 6 games, 7 days he's got to miss. So it wouldn't be a long stretch anyway if he's able to come back when eligible. But I think you're going to see Holliday shortstop.
Yeah, nice that Jackson Holliday has the versatility to play shortstop and second base. The Orioles would rather have their all-star shortstop in Gunnar Henderson healthy and ready to go. Let's flip over to the pitching side of things where, the position player side, it's really down to 2 players. The bullpen seems to be down to 2 as well, between Matt Bowman and Brian Baker.
Right. And Bowman, they did select his contract, but it's kind of a caveat. Don't just assume that means he's on the team. It doesn't mean he's on. It could mean it. It could mean that he ends up getting traded. It could mean that he's DFA'd, and if he clears waivers, he could decline an outright assignment. So he's not guaranteed to be on the roster, but this was a big step here because he was on the 40. They took him off, and he became a minor league free agent. They re-signed him, or he became a free agent, signed him to a minor league deal. Now he has an opportunity to be introduced on opening day. But if not, then you would think it's Brian Baker, who got off to that great start, retired the first 9 batters he faced, fastball 97, 98. He adjusted the grip on the curveball with where he's got the fingers on the seams. And then he hit a few bumps, including I think there was a 3 home run game. But, wind blown, at least one of them, whatever. And meanwhile, Bowman's just one of those guys quietly who was doing really well. And you start checking his numbers, it's like he's out pitching a lot of guys here. So it really looks like it's coming down to those two. There was a period where there could have been 3 openings. If Albert Suarez had ended up in the rotation, which he isn't, if Felix Bautista had started out in the IL, which he isn't, there would have been 3 spots. So instead, we've at least got it narrowed down to 1. So it makes it easier on us to kick around ideas here. Yeah,
Albert Suarez joins the bullpen as Cade Povich wins the competition for the 5th starter spot in the rotation. Now, finally, outside of the roster battles, Roch, those are the obvious things that we're looking at going into opening day. What are some other storylines that you're keeping an eye on outside of the obvious?
Whether Ryan Mountcastle has 40 home runs by April, all to left field, would be one. But I think it's mainly when guys come back. Like, is Gunnar going to be the minimum? And he's getting the Mateo treatment, or he's getting a lot of at-bats in Sarasota. Can he come back within those 7 days? And obviously that's what they're hoping for. They think that's a possibility. When's Grayson Rodriguez come back? He's throwing on flat ground. Apparently he's going to have a bullpen coming up soon. Is that like a 1-month thing? Because he's basically got to start over his spring training, and then you get him back in rotation. Andrew Kittredge is going to be at least a couple months after the knee surgery. When does Kyle Gibson? Is he a month? Is he a May 1st-ish kind of guy? And what happens in the rotation when he is ready? If we really want to look ahead, what if you have Gunnar and what if you have Jorge Mateo back together and you get back to 7 infielders that we thought was going to happen before, and that's room for 4 outfielders? What happens there? Right. And in the meantime, how does Heston Kjerstad get all these at-bats that we keep hearing he's owed and deserving of when you have Ryan O'Hearn, usually in the lineup against right-handers, and you have Tyler O'Neill, who I don't think is going to be a straight platoon. He's going to play most of the time. How are they all going to coexist? So, I mean, pleasant problems to have, I guess. Yeah. But this has to sort itself out somehow.
Yeah, so a lot of storylines, basically, is what you're saying. Well, Roch, we spent a lot of last season talking about injuries. We went, -2 days into this season talking about injuries. So let's hope that those conversations subside a little bit and guys get back healthy. But, Roch, we look forward to your coverage in Toronto. We look forward to regular season baseball.
I'm flying into Buffalo and driving, so hopefully I make it to Toronto. That'll be a whole different segment. If you want to bring a camera and just watch me try to get to Toronto from Buffalo, that would be
Roch's commute.
Good program.
Coming next to MASN All Access. Thanks, Roch.
Thank you.